Hey, what's up, guys? This is Justin from Spinebuster Tees, SpinebusterTees.com, and this is The Experience. But Drew's not here today. He has me hosting again. I hosted last week as of, kind of for my birthday or whatever. It was meant to be a joke at first, it ended up to be an actual thing. Now I'm hosting again this week. But Drew will be back to being host next week. So that'll be good for that. But today, I'm not alone here, and we'll be talking about the World Professional Wrestling. We got a lot of things on tap here, news, of course, and of course we have Night of Champions. Should WWE even be there right now is the question, but we'll get into more of that very shortly here. But tonight, filling in for Drew is.
Yo, it is Ruben Prime from RubenPrimeTV.com. How you guys doing tonight?
I think everyone here is doing well, and if you guys are watching this here after the fact on YouTube, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is the Drew Yari Experience. We're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts. Check it out. Leave a 5-star review. Leave a comment. And yeah, leave a follow. Obviously, follow us on there as well. Yeah, before we get into everything here, we haven't been on the podcast in a while. Well, how's everything going on with you? How's life going for you? No, talk to the masses about how's everything going for you since we last talked to you.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah, everything on my end, I can say, so far so good. Can't complain. Been trying to keep up with wrestling as real life can get real life. It does things, but
Right.
besides that, um, I've been streaming. I took a little bit of hiatus because things have been pretty busy on my end, but I have been streaming on Twitch and experimenting a little bit with multi-streaming. So multi-streaming on to Twitch, to YouTube, and on X. Like
Are you
you're able
using
to.
like a restream?
I was, but then a lot of tech YouTubers that get into that space of live streaming, and they have so many different kinds of plugins for OBS.
Right.
And I was using one, and it was okay, but I found this like all-in-one plugin, and you just download it. It's free, and I could basically stream to like nearly like everything like at once. No other software. So just trying things out, and I mean it's fun. I mean you just gotta watch all these other, gotta have your YouTube studio. Like you can do it on OBS, but it's just good to have those different
Right.
tabs open.
Absolutely.
But anyway, yeah. But yeah, I took a little break, but while I was doing it, it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a lot of fun. I mean, you can check me out if you want. Just search up Ruben Prime TV on Twitch, YouTube, and as well as on X, Mr. Ruben Prime, if you feel like it. And also, I got my hands on a Switch 2, and yeah, it's there's a lot of hype and controversy behind it. I like it. I just wish we had like more like Switch 2 games. There's only one. There's Mario Kart.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you what's like your main content focus right now on your channels?
Mostly just streaming half and half. So PC games, and playing Switch 1 out of Switch 2, and yeah, just retro. Like big fan of retro, and platformers, first person shooters, things like that.
Speaking of
And
platformers, Did you
Yeah.
see the? Well, I'm sure. I mean, if you're into this space, I'm more than sure that you've seen. But what's your thoughts about the new Donkey Kong trailer?
Oh, I thought that trailer was pretty awesome.
It's
It's
pretty epic. It's like almost
yeah,
overwhelming, right? Like a lot. There's a lot of stuff you can do in that game for what it looks like.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's definitely uh just a let's say fresh coat of paint to Donkey Kong, and I'm really excited for for the game. Like, it comes out next month, and the fact that we got a little nod to Super Saiyan 4, because has that same like element to it, and yeah, I'm excited for it. It's Switch 2 exclusive. There's like a small handful, Mario Kart World included, but that's going to be the next like first party title. So I cannot wait for that one. And that in the coming months, this year, we're gonna have more. And one game I'm looking forward to in particular, I'm a big one of the things I play on my stream is Metroid.
Oh
Big
yeah.
Metroid fan. Yeah, and got no release date. It's strange. We don't got a release date on Metroid Prime 4, but we know it's coming out this year. It's just Nintendo. It's all up to them to pull the trigger on whether or not the game, when the game comes out.
Right.
So I'm, big Metroid fan, and I cannot wait for that. And also all the other stuff, like, this Pokemon, Donkey Kong, Bonanza, like we mentioned. And yeah, like I say one thing, like streaming, it's a lot of fun, but it can get like pretty stressful just juggling everything, you know, because you can play a game off stream perfect, like, with your eyes closed, and then when you're on stream, just everything that can go wrong happens. And it's always important to prepare for that. Just try to have fun. Don't take it too seriously. And yeah, just keep that in mind. Like, for those like aspiring streamers or those who are doing it as a hobby, just keep that in mind, because you just never, anything can happen. So you just gotta be prepared. Audio, your webcam, maybe your computer updates midstream, or you have to update your console. Anything can happen. Power can go out. So it's just being prepared for those things. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna try and get back to streaming on a regular basis, starting next week. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And yeah, that's pretty much what's been update what's been going on my end. And by the way, happy belated birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Of
Just don't
course, of
sing to me like
course.
how Drew did last week. I was so uncomfortable, and I told him that. Like, please, like my family knows not to sing me happy birthday because I feel uncomfortable. But Drew's like, oh, I'm gonna sing you happy birthday anyway. I'm like, why are you doing this to me? But it's much appreciated.
Yeah,
All right, let's get on to the show here. A great update for you. You said it was Ruben Prime TV on Twitch and YouTube, correct?
that's correct.
All right. Well, go check out Ruben and check out some live streaming for video game content if you're into the Nintendo Switch 2. Yeah. So let's get into the world of professional wrestling. And first and foremost, let's start off the show as we normally do. I'll let you lead off with the first topic tonight, Ruben. Ruben, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to bring up first?
Okay. It's like so much stuff going on in the world of professional wrestling, and in in the world too. But I'll say we definitely got to talk about Night of Champions, and just like that whole debacle with is say just with what's going on, and some wrestlers are they're not wanting to appear on because of what's going on, and I don't blame them. Like, it's if you don't feel safe, you definitely have the obligation to say, listen, I'm gonna bow out. Just don't feel comfortable with everything that's going on. And, shouldn't be penalized for, your safety. And yeah, I'm sure WWE has, security and all that. And, and Riyadh has, security and all that. But you just never know. Like, if you feel, always gotta go with your gut. But I, I'm just that person that, yeah, just you don't feel comfortable going somewhere or doing something, and your gut's telling you, listen, you know, some things are more important than money and being seen. Like, I'm a human being at the end of the day, and some stuff can go down. I feel like something can go down. So, just yeah, like I think I know Dominic Mysterio, like in apparently had like a undisclosed injury because he
Yeah, I
was
mean,
originally
yeah, that
stiff
was
from the
one of the
title.
news topics I was going to bring up later, but we can
Yeah,
do that real quick. Dominic Mysterio is dealing with a rib cage issue, but is not expected to be out of action for any lengthy period of time. That's coming from PW Insider. That is AKA, I do not want to go to Saudi Arabia because I don't feel safe. That's the way I
yeah,
look at it.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, and listen, and I think also LA Knight, he got written off TB as well. Solo's group, no, it wasn't Solo group. It was Sub's group. Bronson Reed, big Bronson Reed, gave him a couple of tsunamis for his trouble. Ongoing storyline with LA Knight. But they're feuding. They cost each other spots in their respective matches in the Money in the Bank qualifier, and I believe also in the King of the Ring tournament, and just going back and forth. So that was one way to write them out on TV on, I believe, on Smackdown. But yeah, another one. If that's the case, I don't blame them. Like, you don't feel safe, and this again, some things are more important than money.
Well, let me
You
ask you
know,
this: what do you think WWE should have done if you were controlling the company and you are in a contract with the Saudi government, saying that like you got pierced so many times a year and all that? What would you do in this situation if you're in control of WWE?
good question. I would just tell the Saudis, listen, just things in the Middle East are really hot right now. They're burning up, scorching, and just putting all your talent and your employees and the crew and the staff out there, and potential. There's definitely a potential danger, as we don't know, because this whole Israel Iran conflict, missiles being launched, you know,
Right.
to either country, and then there was an attack at Qatar, at a
Yeah.
military base. So yeah, like it's definitely something, and I've been keeping up with everything as much as I can, and
Yeah,
it's
me
like,
too.
oof,
Unfortunately.
yeah, because it's real. It's something that could get into a global conflict where more countries get involved, and it's very scary. But if I was in WWE's position, I would have told the Saudi government. I would say, listen, yeah, we gotta postpone, reschedule. I know we have a certain amount of appearances a year. We're on this multi-year contract. We'll just like extend it. Like, we'll extend it. No big
What would
deal.
you do as
Because
far as like would you move the show to another city? Would you like just postpone it like like just postpone it indefinitely? What would you do? Because you're already promoting the card and fans are expecting a show. Like not just in Saudi
true,
Arabia, but like 7, 8 year old little John ain't gonna know what the hell is going on over there in the Middle East. So like, what would you do? Would you try to reschedule, like, obviously reschedule with the Saudis, but like, would you take it to another city? Would you just be like, oh well, next week on Raw and SmackDown, is gonna be Night of Champions, whatever. Would you split the card in half, or one for SmackDown, one for Raw? Like, what would you do?
Yeah, I think that's the way to go, to split the card, have it on Raw and SmackDown. Because I mean, besides Cena and CM Punk, like these matches and the both King and Queen of the Ring finals matches, like the rest of the card doesn't feel like Night of Champions. So you can definitely slot those matches on Raw and SmackDown respectively. And yeah, just have them on SmackDown and Raw respectively. And then for the Saudis, so they're not left out, they could we could reschedule, because I know they got weeks in advance to already have just the stadium set up for the show, like all the logistics to just take everything there and take it, just dismantle it. I know it's going to be a pain in the ass, so I think they could postpone it over there and do it another date over there. But as far as the card, the Night of Champions card, they could just have it be done over in the States. But again, that's what I would do, just for the fact that it's just it's sizzling out there. It's really hot, and things calm down, but just anything could pop off. So I definitely think that if I was in that position, I would just try to do something to keep people at ease. Wrestlers, my employees, the stage crew, ring, people, everyone involved, because it's just really scary. Like, it's just literally, you're in the backyard of all that.
Right. Okay, well, I mean, we'll talk about a little bit more about Nine Champions here, in a little bit. We'll be going over the card at the last segment of the show is Nine Champions preview / predictions here. But I want to bring up first here, for tonight's podcast. You're in New York, right? But like, what was the mood for Fanatics Fest? Because WWE, and obviously other athletes were at Fanatics Fest, and this is the second year of this event, and it seems like it's going to be something that's going to be going around for a long time. This may be something that may be coming for years to come. I like it because it really gets the WWE's name out there, right? Obviously, it's not a WWE event, but WWE is heavily involved in it, because you had guys like Cody Rhodes, you had like Jacob Fatu and John Cena, and Rhea Ripley, and I don't know if Liv ended up making it, but Tiffany Stratton was there, and just all these mega huge names. Triple H was there. And you had athletes like Tom Brady, doing the entrances down to the ring, right? You had major people there like Kevin Hart and Drewski, and just all these major athletes there, and being around the WWE wrestlers, and it kind of, to me, it kind of made this event very, very cool, very hip to be, and only the elite people can be there. I saw many videos, but one video in particular that I saw was that this gentleman brought in the actual headstone from In Your House, Buried Alive 1996, Undertaker versus Mankind, to get it signed by The Undertaker on the headstone itself. And it apparently weighs like 50 pounds, or whatever the case may be, right? So I mean, I don't know if you've seen much about Fanatics Fest and WWE's involvement, but what was your view of WWE's involvement with Fanatics Fest?
Oh man, I saw a bunch of clips on social media over the weekend, and it's like you said, it's just this big, event, and it's
It's like the Super Bowl or the WrestleMania for fan meet and greets.
yeah, yeah,
That's the way I looked
exactly.
at it. It was wild, man. Like live streams going on, like the athletes are doing all this crazy stuff. It looks like they had a bunch of fun and parties and things of that nature. WWE they promoted pretty well last year. They really promoted well this year, and this is going to be a yearly thing where WWE's involved in Fanatics Fest in New York City, and I think at the end of the day, I think it's a really cool thing of them doing, and to get the brand out there. But again, I'll let you continue. Sorry about that.
No, no, you good, you good. Yeah, like it's like this huge just convention of all these stars, especially with WWE's involvement, and then you have the celebrities and the influencers, mixed in there, and in the Javits Center, and like what more can you ask for? Like, is another win for WWE, being involved with Fanatics Fest.
Right.
I saw a lot of clips on social media over the weekend, and people were having the time of their lives. Saw a lot of the WWE superstars, signing autographs and signing trinkets and
Yeah.
things like
Seth
that.
Rollins, CM Punk, Charlotte.
Yeah,
I mean, they were all there, man. Jey Uso, of course.
yeah,
Bianca.
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a fucking blast.
yeah,
They also did a road to like a SummerSlam kickoff there as well. So
yeah, yeah.
you know,
Perfect. It's SummerSlam is gonna be in my backyard, is gonna be in Jersey. So, 2 nights too, and that's a good way to get people buzzing about, the event that's gonna go down in the 2 night format. So, it's a multi-pronged, event because it did so many things, to get people out there, meet and greets, autograph signings. You have your promos, to promote different events, and you have a lot of celebrities and influencers mingling.
it was a
One
ton.
person,
Like that
yeah,
was the place to be last weekend. Like if you
yeah,
weren't, like I put it to you this way, if you weren't there, then like you're missing out on something. And from what I've heard and from what I've seen from the numbers, the WWE wrestlers were the biggest money makers from that event.
oh
Rhea
yeah,
Ripley had, I think Rhea Ripley was, I want to say she may have been one of probably the biggest moneymaker as far as people wanted to meet and greet her.
oh yeah, I believe it. Like she's, for all the all the crap you hear about Rhea Ripley being, forced down our throats and she's just unbearable. It's all like, IWC, you know, BS. And, she gets a crazy reaction when her theme hits, when she gets out there. Like, people still cheer for her. So I can imagine that translate into her having, a lot of people show up
Yeah.
to, you know, to meet her and sign autographs and things like that. And it goes to show. And once again, folks, those who are listening to this after the fact, uh, the internet, while it has its perks, its benefits, it's not real life. Like, you'll hear people complain about Rhea Ripley and all this stuff, this narrative about her, but people out there over the weekend, at Fanatics Fest, like, they love her. And then when she's out there, she gets a crazy reaction. People still love her. Like, regardless, champion or not, she still has her fans.
Yeah. Absolutely. Would you go if you had the funds? Would you go to Fanatics Fest? Would you want to take like a half day or a full day to experience it?
Oh yeah, I wanna try and go next year. Like that's a mission to go next year because couldn't go uh this year. Unfortunately, last year I had a chance to go, but yeah, it was just like not in the cards. But I'm definitely gonna try and go next year because it was a lot of fun just seeing that. Like last year, like the buzz was like they were overwhelmed with how successful that was, and I know WWE learned from their mistakes and how they could improve, and it showed because I wasn't hearing some of the issues last year that they had happen again this year. So that lets us know that it was overwhelming success.
Right.
So they learn from their mistakes, and yeah, like I'm definitely going make it like a maybe go maybe on Friday, Saturday, but I definitely want to go because it's definitely no pun intended, but it's an experience.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it'll be a very cool experience to go to document that. It's like a once in a lifetime type of event, and I would love for it to come to other cities in the future. LA will probably be very cool. Miami, Texas, San Antonio, maybe if we decide to get a fucking if this Project Marvel goes through, that'll be a good spot to bring it here. But yeah, for
Yeah.
Nax Fest. So yeah, if you guys didn't see it or hear anything about it, check it out. Leave your thoughts down below about the first two segments here in the comment section here on YouTube. Leave a thumbs up as well. And we did talk about so far Fanatics Fest and also WWE Night Champions if they should go to Saudi Arabia, which they are now. But Maurice Bear in the Discord, which is under the Wrestling Soup. We're in the Wrestling Soup Discord. Under the Experience. Check us out there. Come in, say hi. We will all welcome you here in the Wrestling Soup Discord under the Experience. Maurice Bear says, what is going on with the tensions of the two nations? I say no. And that's in reference to if WWE should go. But they're going, and we're going to have a pay-per-view on Saturday, which we will talk about later here. But before we get into the pay-per-view, before we get into the shows and all that, we got some news here. We got some news topics here in the world of professional wrestling from this past week. And this first news report is coming from PW Insider. And, we like Alestair Black around here, right? Yeah, are you a big Alestair Black fan?
Oh yeah, like since his NXT days and the Black and Gold era, one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Even when he went to AEW, yeah, he was one of my favorites.
Yeah, well, this guy from BW Insider, and there has been a lot of praise and talk surrounding Aleister Black in WWE creative circles, according to some of the same sources who said that Damian Priest earmarked to be elevated to the upper card years ago. There's been a lot of discussion within creative management wanting to raise the Black's profile going forward on SmackDown. This is why Black has been interacting with so many personalities in recent weeks, and the plan is to move Black upwards as the company has been happy with both of his work and his merchandise sales thus far. That's coming from PW Insider. So there has been some feedback and complaints on social media that Black hasn't been used, or what is he doing? He doesn't feel special. WWE seems pretty happy with him, according to PW Insider. And mind you, my thing with Black hasn't really been his work or anything like that. I was like, well, I just kind of wish that he would have kept his appearance more like how it was in AEW. With the House of Black, with the makeup on the face and the goat antlers that he wears to the ring and all that stuff. But who knows? That still may be able to come, like if he does turn into a heel. But what are your thoughts about that? About WWE being happy with his work and his merchandise, and possibly see that they can push him, kind of like how they did Damian Priest. How Damian Priest started his push a couple years ago.
Yeah, listen, with Aleister Black, like I know for sure he's happy to be back in WWE. Now that there's been a regime change. Triple H is at the helm, and Triple H is a really big Aleister Black supporter, and he's been able to just slot himself right in to things after coming back. Having a few matches, and yeah, like, and I expect like he's definitely a company guy, and I know for sure he's gonna have plans, and definitely on in creative. I know creative will have some things. It just takes time. Like, you got to get yourself comfortable. They got to see what you can do, and then after that, hey, we love what you're doing. Let's get some brainstorming going on what your character is going to be doing moving forward. And I think that in this age and social media, since a lot of people are in the know, they want something to happen immediately. They want Allister, for example, to be just immediately, like, we want him fighting for a championship. When he just got there, he's and I remember he hasn't wrestled consistently for a while when it was in AEW.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, what, less than like,
yeah,
I don't remember the exact number, but he had like less than like 15 singles matches in AEW.
yeah. So they wanted to see how he how he favors being back in WWE, and just getting acclimated back to the to the WWE way of things. And it's it's important that people remember that. And just instant gratification, it's a thing, unfortunately. And we just got to remember that there's things that we don't fully know. Like, there's a lot of things, a lot of conversations that we're not privy to. And the fact that he's been on TV, mingling with, that segment on Smackdown with Ron, Ron Killings, and, Damian Priest. So that's a good sign, because people love Damian and Ron. So it's like, that's a good sign. Just the fact that he's mingling with those big names. So, I'm trusting the process, and I'm happy that creative and the higher ups are happy with Alster, and especially since I'm a big fan, very big fan.
All right. Well, Aleister Black, the future remains to be seen for Aleister Black, and hopefully he does get his big push on SmackDown. Moving on. And this is coming from Fightful Select. Gail Kim was backstage at this week's NXT. It also wasn't the first time she's been there as of late. It has been said that WWE has been interested in bringing her on board since she became available. When asked if she's officially with the company, WWE sources said that she isn't as of the moment. The company has kept her presence at shows very quiet. I like Gail Kim. I thought she was always a great in-ring performer, and she's always been a great mind for the Knockouts division for TNA, and it seems like she's always been well respected. Seems like that she always has been an influence to some of the Knockouts that have been there. Kind of like a Jordan Grace and Deonna Purrazzo. Gail Kim was critical with the development of those wrestlers. What do you think about Gail Kim and her possible addition to NXT? Even though it's not official, but she's been there pretty much like as a guest advisor or whatever the case may be, or a guest coach. Would you want to see Gail Kim in WWE or NXT rather, full time as as a coach per se, or backstage with the talent.
Yeah, I think Gail Kim has a lot to contribute, especially uh, as a veteran, working in WWE and especially in TNA. Like, I remember Gail Kim, back in the day, in the TNA days when she was, just putting out bangers with, Awesome Kong. And to me, like, she definitely has a lot to offer to the new slew of women that are coming up, the Performance Center and in NXT, and yeah, a lot of women in NXT right now, and the more I say the more the merrier. Like always, having someone to like bounce ideas off, or to mentor, to tutor, you know, to lift up is always, an important thing. So, yeah, like I'm game if she becomes, a coach, or, even have, maybe one more match. There is a pay-per-view coming up called Evolution 2. So maybe she'll have, an appearance. Maybe she'll have a match. I don't know. No insider information, from me, but that's just, wishful thinking. But yeah, I definitely think she has a lot to contribute.
Yeah, I think so as well. She, like I said, she has a great mind, and it's obvious why she's been successful in WWE, the way that I'm sorry, in TNA, the way that she has been, and yeah, I think it'll be a good addition for WWE to bring her in permanently on the NXT brand. Moving on, we got something from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, and this is interesting here. Bryan Alvarez says someone in WWE messaged him about having people from AEW on his show. Okay. I have a buddy. This is what Bryan Alvarez said. I had a buddy in WWE who was all mad. Oh, your coworker was on, he says. I was like, listen, if you didn't work for a weird cult, I'll have you guys on every single week. You want someone from WWE on the show every single day, you think I'm going to say no? You're kidding me. You, WWE, don't let anyone come on the show. They, AEW, do. So don't whine about it. Don't cry about it. There's plenty you can cry about. That's not one of them. If Kevin Owens wants to come on and talk about his neck, let's do it. If John Cena wants to talk about his horrific heel run, I'm here, but that won't happen. So, and the reason why I'm bringing this up here, and I usually don't bring stuff up like this here, but I just thought it would be very interesting, the different philosophies between AEW and WWE. So, not on who it is. So, a lot of people are focusing on the Wrestling Observer newsletter, and people,
Yeah.
there's people out there who don't really like Bryan Alvarez and Dave Meltzer for reasons are granted, fine, whatever, right? Let's not focus on the actual show of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the radio show, whatever the case may be. Just focus on there's this radio show that WWE doesn't allow their wrestlers to appear on for interviews, but AEW allows their wrestlers to appear on for interviews. Do you think that? Well, let me just ask you this: what are your thoughts about that? Do you think that WWE has a justified reasoning for this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, listen, as WWE doesn't want to admit that, there is competition, WWE and AEW, for better or worse, there are competition. And I think that WWE trying to, like, distance themselves from, like, this particular show, radio show, from having, WWE stars appear on this show because they have, they have AEW stars. I mean, I don't see any problem with it. I don't see any problem with it. I mean, I could see people having problem with it or making a big fuss about it, but personally, I don't see an issue with it, especially since I remember in a time when Busted Open Radio used to have, Tony Khan on, and, then when things got sour, they stopped showing up. And then it was, WWE showing up on, WWE stars showing up on, on Busted Open. So it's like, it's just marking their territory pretty much. Like, I got Busted Open Radio, and you got this particular show, and it's fine. End of the day, you go where you feel welcome, where you have the most reach. I just don't see much of an issue, but of course, I know people will have the tribalists will make this into something, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is what it is. For this, man, I really don't really have any much to add on it, but I just think that WWE, they like to control who they like. They like to control their narrative, and Busted Open, they're not going to ask those hard-hitting questions that maybe Bryan Alvarez and Dave Meltzer would. I mean, I'm not saying that they're great journalists, but I'm just saying that the questions will be different, and and the narrative will change. And same thing for AEW. Like, AEW is not gonna go and Bust Open radio because they know that Bully's gonna, not, ask him the real stuff.
Yeah.
The narratives are gonna be different on both sides. So, all right. And lastly, here in our news segment here, Jim Ross. Update on Jim Ross's cancer. And I believe he stated this already, but I'm not too sure if this is in relation to something else. But nevertheless, great news. I don't want to undermine it. I just thought I saw something recently with this. But he says the cancer's gone, which I'm very happy to say. So I'm blessed that my health has returned, and I'm feeling pretty damn good. That is Jim Ross, who stated that. So Jim Ross is cancer free. I know he recently had I forgot what kind of cancer. I know Ric Flair said he had skin cancer. Not too sure what Jim Ross's cancer was. I don't remember, I should say, but I think it was. I'm not too sure.
I believe it was colon.
I don't know. It was like his gallbladder. I don't know. But wherever it was, I'm very, very happy, very, very happy to hear that he's cancer free. So,
yeah.
Ruben, thoughts?
Yeah, I believe he had colon cancer. I believe.
Oh yeah, that's That's what it was. Colon. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, fellas who will listen to this, definitely, get checked out. Because it's definitely a thing. And cancer sucks. Like I'm like, I was affected. I know someone, actually my stepfather, he passed away over a decade ago due to cancer. So
sorry to hear about that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's definitely, like, when I hear anything about cancer, it's like just those, that feeling just surface up, because I know what it can do. And not a doctor, not giving medical advice, but I will say, just take care of yourselves, and watch your diet, your lifestyle, because it can affect you. It's better just to take care of yourself now than having to wait until it's too late, and then God forbid you're in a position where you're worse off. So definitely take care of yourselves, gentlemen. Get checked out. And ladies, you too. Ladies that are listening, get checked out as well. But as far as Jim Ross is concerned, I'm happy. I'm ecstatic that he's cancer free. I know he talked to Steve Austin before going into surgery, and Steve gave him encouraging words like, hey, like, you're gonna beat this, like, you'll be fine, get in there, beat this. And lo and behold, like, Jim Ross, defeated cancer. It didn't kick out. So I'm very happy. And shouts to Steve, because I know that them two are tight. And Jim Ross, like, helped Stone Cold, with the Stone Cold character, because damn, his commentary. If I couldn't go back for a day, like, just not watching, a pay-per-view with Jim Ross on the booth, but just actually go back in time and just feel that, like, it's like, oh man. But that's how much his, just his, his influence and his longevity is, and just how impactful he's been to the wrestling industry, no matter where he is. And I'm happy for him.
Well, yeah, Jim Ross, who has been an integral part of our lives. Yeah, definitely, hopefully, this starts a great recovery for him. And hopefully he lives for many, 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 many more years to come as well. So glad to hear that Jim Ross is back to being fully healthy, according to him at least. So, all right, moving on. That was the news here, and we're going to be moving on to SmackDown, Raw, and NXT, and I had champions as well. Leave your thoughts down below and comment down below of the news topics that we talked about here. And yeah, leave us your thoughts, and we'll see if we can try to read some comments about that next week on the podcast here. But you ready to talk about SmackDown, my friend?
Yeah.
All right. Well, SmackDown last Friday, live on the USA Network. Still 3-hour program here. Let's talk about it here. Ruben, I thought SmackDown was a mid show overall. Over here on me personally, I thought it was mid. But for you, what was your biggest takeaway from SmackDown this past week?
Oof. Funny you asked that, because this a certain promo that a certain unseen 17 said, I say this with SmackDown lately, it's just been, hit or miss. I mean, a lot of SmackDown shows has just been mid at best. It's just everyone feels it. Like 3 hours is just way too long. I'm glad that they're going back to 2 hours very soon. I believe after I think second week of July. Got the exact date, but yeah, I'm happy. But yeah, my biggest takeaway is that people are calling it, and it's rightfully so, the reverse, kind of like the reverse Uno, the reverse Uno card. Cena pulled the reverse pipe bomb, and I thought that, number one, great. Like, this thing was freaking amazing, number one. And it just felt, if it brought me back to CM Punk's original pipe bomb promo. Number two, it brought back something that we've been missing from the product overall, but also from Cena's heel run, because I was, one of the ones that was excited to see Cena and his heel run. But as time went on, it just got really just bland, and we can talk about Travis Scott, um, and aka Mr. Fiend here in that song, and The Rock, just the whole issue with that and him not showing up and just messing things up. But I'll say that Cena during that promo is what he should have been. He should have been that cool heel instead of trying to ruin wrestling, you know. And I watched it a few times. Like that was my biggest takeaway from from Smackdown. I went back and watched it a bunch of times, and it still hits. Like it's that feeling that we haven't had since WrestleMania 40, leading up to it with The Rock, and The Rock whooping Cody outside the ring as tour bus, making him bleed and smearing his blood over his weight belt. Like it's stuff like that makes me fall in love with wrestling, and we got that last week, and we just need that on a weekly basis. We just can't do the safe routine because it doesn't translate well on television. We just need something to keep us coming back for more, and that. And I know we'll get into like the pipe bomb, what Cena said in it specifically, but like overall, that was my biggest takeaway from that.
Yeah, I thought, where has this thing been since the Elimination Chamber?
Right.
But I thought the segment was. I'm not gonna lie. At first, I was like, when he so number one, it was R-Truth versus John Cena, right? And the pipe bomb happened. That's the same matchup that happened back in 2011. It was John Cena versus R-Truth in a tables match, and they did the same exact spot. So with the verse with CM Punk, but to me, when the promo first started, when I heard, CM Punk, as soon as he said CM Punk, I was like, oh, he's about to do his own version of the pipe bomb. Because exactly, I just felt it. And when you first started off with that, I was like, I don't know, like you're kind of, it's not your promo, you're using someone else's promo to recreate. And by the end of it, I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked it. I did like the promo. But to me, though, like, I can't really, like, go on and say, people say, oh, Cena's, like, best promo. Well, no, I think Cena's best promo was when he obliterated Roman Reigns, when he was like, I'm still here because you can't do your job. To me, that's Cena's best promo. But I can't really say that this is Cena's best promo because this is Punk's promo that he's using. Like the foundation of it, but still good. And it made me more excited for Night of Champions, because Night of Champions doesn't feel like a PLE outside of Punk and Cena, and maybe Cody and Orton, but we'll talk about that in a little while here. But but SmackDown from last Friday, and the second and last SmackDown before Saudi. But let's go over the show here real quick. And announced in advance was Ryan Killings versus John Cena. You had the Queen of the Ring semifinal of Asuka and Alexa Bliss. And then you had Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn. Those are all announced in advance. So this is in reverse here. I don't know why, but hold on, give me a second here. Why is this in reverse? Why is this in reverse?
We got the reverse pipe bomb, so I feel like everything is in reverse.
Yeah, I don't know why this is in reverse, but Oh no, this is stupid. Why is this in reverse? That's my bad. I should have looked at it. But usually when I go through the results, they have it in order. But for this time, they have it in reverse. So let's just go over the results, so we don't want to waste time on this here. We know
Yep.
what SmackDown was anyway. But Ryan Killings versus John Cena. It wasn't really really a match or anything like that. But
Yeah.
CM Punk ended up coming out there and getting. Um, getting decimated by John Cena, and John Cena cut that amazing pipe bomb program, amazing. No, I won't say amazing, but it was pretty good pipe bomb promo. So, as far as I don't know if we really want to call it a match, but the match between John Cena and R-Truth. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, it was a vehicle to set up what was going to happen afterwards, and it was a callback to when Cena and R-Truth had their match.
Right.
So it was very symbolic. But as far as the match, I mean, it wasn't really much of a match, and I am glad, by the way, that R-Truth is back, aka Ron Killings. Glad that he's back. But yeah, just not much of a match.
All right. Well, moving on here, and this is actually this Star SmackDown where LA Knight came out there, and so LA Knight came out there to the ring, and he pretty much wasted no time addressing Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed, which I'm hearing that the name of the group possibly could be called the Oracle. Not too sure if that's going to be the actual name or not, but if that's going to be the name, the Oracle, what do you think about that name?
I mean, I it's a bit of a head scratcher, but I mean, trying to make sense of it. I mean, Seth's his whole deal. Excuse me. His whole deal is the fact that he was calling things out. That's like the way the heel in WWE operates in the modern day. Like the heel telling truths, and he's basically he said many times that this was gonna happen.
And Seth used the word Oracle a couple times already too, as well. I think he used it this past Monday and Monday before as well. So
Yeah, yep. So that's definitely looking like that's the name they're gonna go with. I mean, yeah, at least we got a name, and makes sense since he's mentioned the word Oracle, and leading up to him, leading up to Paul Heyman turning on Roman and Punk at Mania. It definitely makes sense, and I hope they add one more member, kind of make it because I know the numbers game is going to catch up with Seth's group, so definitely I can see them adding another person.
yeah, who do you think the other person would be?
I mean, I could definitely see, and I got two options: either Ilya Dragunov, or actually three: Ilya Dragunov, Austin Theory, or Kaiser, Ludwig Kaiser. I definitely can see Ludwig, being in the group, because he has potential and he's been in catering. So I can definitely see that. Maybe it can lean into Gunther, since he is the world heavyweight champ. Like that could be, just spitballing, but I definitely can see that could be an option. But more so Austin Theory, and Ilya, then Ludwig. But yeah, those are my three choices.
I think they're trying to turn Austin Theory face from what it looks like to me. I don't know if that will be, I think that'll be ass backwards if they do that. Ilya, yeah, I'm good with that too. But I don't know if people want to boo Ilya, but this will actually get Ilya a little bit more attention. Ludwig, out of those three, I like Ludwig the most.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I think Ludwig needs something. I mean, this would be perfect for him, but he's going from one group to another, but he'll be in a more prominent position. But they need a fourth person. They need a fourth person because, yeah, you gotta think about War Games, and
Yep.
and I'm pretty sure that this new right now is called the Oracle, even though that's probably not the name, but or maybe it is. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
maybe that's something going on there, but um, need a fourth person. And there's been rumors of two NXT stars of Ricky Saints and Ethan Page possibly being that fourth person. So,
Mm.
but yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But back to the promo itself. Uh, Basically, Heyman was out there, and he was out there with LA Knight for this promo, and he tried to leave before something bad happened to him. But LA Knight, um, you know, fended him. Wait, what? It says ever happened to him, but Knight, ever the defiant babyface, refused. Oh, Breaker and Reed arrive. Okay, there we go. Yeah, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed arrive. But yeah, that's where LA Knight had to still chair and fend him off from that. So that was the opening segment. Opening match of SmackDown was a King of the Ring semifinal of Asuka versus Alexa Bliss. You had Asuka defeating Alexa Bliss here in this match, and she goes to the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament. Is that a good decision for Asuka to defeat Alexa Bliss here?
I mean, yeah. Since she came back, she's been gone for over a year. So I think I think having her be, going, towards the finals is a good thing because we all know who's gonna win. I mean, I would love Asuka to win, but I think they're gonna have Jade win it and then continue that storyline with Naomi and have that story continue. So I definitely think that Asuka was put into place so she can get some wins, get back out there, and I'm glad she's back. I'm excited that she's back. Gives the women's division nice you know shot in the arm, and yeah, she's gonna help put over Jay Cargo, and hopefully the match is decent because with Jade, and I like Jade, her look, her presentation, but we you just gotta wait and see. Maybe it's just short and sweet, not be there too long, but Asuka's in there. She's a veteran. She's the GOAT. So I think it's the right choice for her to go over Alexa Bliss, and I like Alexa Bliss too. So, but yeah, Asuka's the right choice.
All right. Well, moving on here. You had a match that was supposed to be Alestair Black to go off against Wilson, pretty deadly, but Ron Killings attacked Wilson and put him into STF, and JB Noble came out there and talked down, well, not talked down, but basically talked to Killings, and left Black out there wondering what just happened. So we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. But back in the arena, Cody Rhodes took the square circle to address the King of the Ring tournament in a semi-final match with Jey Uso. He wasted no time joining. Jey Uso rather came out there, and a brief back and forth ensured before Sami Zayn came out there and interrupted his desire to win his first World Heavyweight Championship. And that's where Randy Orton came out there and vowed to win the King of the Ring and challenge John Cena at WrestleMania. So basically, just had all four of the Final Four be out there and say, "I want to win. This is why I'm going to win. This is why I'm going to win. This is why I'm going to win." Very long segment. It's fine, but I thought it was long and didn't really go anywhere for me in this particular situation. It's just kind of like just get your your 4 year biggest baby faces out there. But what was your thoughts about that promo segment?
I mean, it did the job to get, all the King of the Ring semi-final contestants out there. But yeah, it definitely could have been shaved down, in my opinion. But yeah, like I mentioned, it did what it needed to do. And Ron coming out there, coming out there like he's like I'm interested with, with Ron. I'm calling him Ron, because he's in the driver's seat as he mentioned. But yeah, this new edge to Ron, I'm definitely intrigued, with his character and how what he's doing here, being just like a wrench, throwing a wrench into the machine kind of deal. But yeah, I'm glad he's back again. And yeah, again, the promo segment between the contestants did what it need to do.
All right, well, and you had the two of the semifinals have a match right after this: Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton wins here in a very good match, I thought. And he's now in the finals for in the King of the Ring tournament here. And yeah, there were some people who thought that that Sami Zayn could go to the finals and also win, and I was one of those people as well that kind of perhaps vouched for that. But Randy Orton wins after hitting RKO on Sami Zayn. Thoughts?
Yeah, listen, Sammy, I like Sammy. And I know he's very, popular out there in Saudi, but Orton going over was the best choice because, especially with who won on Monday night between Cody and Jey Uso, which that was a good match on Monday night. It makes sense. I wish we would have gotten this match, Randy and Cody at Mania, but, plans do what they do. They just get turned upside down. But yeah, we're gonna get this match at least, and maybe down the line we'll have it again. And who knows, like, who will have the title? Could it be Cena will retain, or will it be CM Punk, or and with Seth Rollins with the Money in the Bank, like, it's who knows. But definitely, for Saudi and also for the story that we'll have with this match between Cody and Randy, it's the right choice. And Sammy will become champion, but not now. Not now. I think he'll win the Rumble because I know the Rumble is going to be at Saudi Arabia, so he's going to win it. I definitely think he's going to win the Rumble, which, definitely makes sense. And he'll finally win the big one. But now, not tonight.
All right, well, moving on here. After the match, we had WWE's Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton interrupted a promo from Nia Jax coming face to face with her announcing a last woman standing match next Friday on Smackdown. So we have that coming up there for next week. Next we had Chelsea Green versus Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair submitted Green here with the figure 8. Thoughts about, quick thoughts rather, about this match with Chelsea Green and Charlotte Flair.
Oof. That what I remember was towards the end when where Piper did a senton on Charlotte, while Charlotte had Chelsea on her submission to figure eight. And of course, people online were saying, "Oh, this, just, you know, just tearing Piper apart because like the move didn't look safe and like it." And I get it, but that this that spot was planned. It wasn't like, oh, just did it just to do it. And it just goes to show a lot of these fans are they just started watching wrestling like a few weeks ago, a few months ago, maybe a year, so they don't understand a lot of the nuances. And I get it, like it looked gnarly. Don't get me wrong, but it was a planned spot. And hey, sometimes with planned spots, things, it can go wrong. Look at with Liv and Kyrie Sane, same deal. Like people were saying, oh, Kyrie's unsafe, blah blah blah. But it's like it was a simple move. It was a simple move that got Liv's shoulder messed up. Simple, and it happens. So that was my takeaway from the match. And of course Charlotte wins, but it's like Jesus, that was pretty gnarly. I can't lie.
All right, well, moving on here, and we got a segment with Sokoa calling out Jacob Fatu, and Jacob Fatu was called out there, and Fatu challenged Solo to fight him for the United States Championship, and he said, why does it say this? And when the heel attempted to sneak attack, why does it say that? Anyway, Fatu cut off. Jason Mateo tried to come out there and attack Jacob Fatu, and well, yeah, he tried to attack Jacob Fatu, but then Jimmy Uso came out there. But basically, long story short, we have Fatu, we have Solo. They are going to be going up against each other for the United States Championship. And I believe it is going to be next this Friday here on Smackdown. One-on-one. What are your thoughts about this? Do you think there's a possibility that that Solo will win the United States Championship, and B, is there a possibility that we may see Gail come and join the new bloodline, or I don't even know if you want to call this a bloodline still at this point, but come and join the new bloodline with Solo and JC Mateo?
I think so. I think it's about that time. I know there's been like talks about him being called up, like being brought in, and it took them long enough. But yeah, like I think it calls for it, just to boost the numbers, and so it'll be 3 versus 2 with Jacob and Jimmy, Big Jim. So, yep, that's definitely, and shout outs to Jacob. Jacob is so like over, fans love him. Yeah, natural. Like he can't be a heel. Like it just he was just getting all these crazy reactions. Like people love him, and he's just authentic, and I like that. Like he's one of the reasons why I tune in, because like guy's dope, and for a guy his size, moving the way he does, it's insane. Like it's like Jesus. Like like just the fact that he's able, just the stuff that he can do in the ring is incredible. So it's like, yeah, like he's over. He's U.S. champion. We'll see how how that plays out at Night of Champions.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, it'd be very, very interesting to see what happens. But Lastly, here on SmackDown, we already talked about the main event, but lastly here for our recap here was LA Knight versus Big Bronson Reed. So earlier, from what happened earlier in the night, well, LA Knight got attacked by Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. It ended up being Bronson Reed versus LA Knight. It was a competitive matchup throughout, and Knight ended up beating Bronson Reed by disqualification here. Um, and obviously, you have the numbers that gained up against LA Knight here. And we're gonna talk about Raw here in a little bit too as well. So we don't really want to get into it that much, but more quickly, what were your thoughts about this match?
Um, Being pretty competitive. Again, like LA Knight and Seth's faction have been, going at it, ever since Money in the Bank. So it, definitely for for what went down. Yeah, and listen, with LA Knight, people are, again, this is online. People are like, oh my god, like, he should be champion. He should have won Money in the Bank, blah, blah, blah. But, like, his time will come, just not now. He's still over, he gets really good reactions when he goes out there. Another organic, someone that got over organically. And yeah, and as far as the match is concerned, yeah, it's just damn. Just the tsunamis, you know, how many he gave him? Like three? Like Jesus.
Yeah.
Like Bronson Reed is that dude. Like when he was feuding with Braun Strowman and with Seth, like the reason why he's in this group is because him and Seth, went at it, and that like really elevated him. Now that he's back, I'm glad to see him doing what he's doing. So yeah, this match I enjoyed it. Like this match, up to the end, and then what happened afterwards, with the beatdown and all that. But yeah, like I enjoyed the match.
All right. Well, moving on here, and we already talked about the main event here, the Cena Pipebomb. If you had to rate SmackDown out of 10 from this past Friday, what would you give it?
Okay, so with the pipe bomb included, I'll say it's like a solid 7, 8 because it's the last thing that people remember. Like people are gonna remember for a long time Cena's pipe bomb promo. Without the promo, it would have definitely been like a 5 or 6, just because yeah, there were stories that were that were forwarded, but it just felt like you know, just like the same tried and true formula. Considering that we got a tournament, for the king and queen, king in the ring. So yeah, it just felt, without the promo, it was just another mid SmackDown. But this pipe bomb promo definitely like saved the show.
Yeah.
It definitely saved the show for sure.
Well, I gave it a 6 out of 10. with the promo too as well. Promo was great,
Okay.
but the show overall wasn't. It doesn't, But that was SmackDown from this past Friday, and also as well. Before we're going to Raw here, and I should have brought this up earlier. I don't know why I didn't, but that's my fault being a terrible host at this. WWE's chart flight to Saudi Arabia carrying most of the talent heading into this week's SmackDown and Night of Champions in Riyadh left Miami, Florida around 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this afternoon. So they're on their way there, and they probably should be there in the next in the middle of the night tonight. So yeah, so we'll probably start seeing some videos and stuff tomorrow of them hanging out in Saudi Arabia. So hopefully things there are peaceful. That's
Yeah.
all I got to say about that. Okay, moving on here. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Um, Raw was live in, I believe, Columbus, Ohio.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're live in Columbus, and it started off with Seth Rollins. So we just got done talking about LA Knight and Seth Rollins and the whole feud there with that, and Bronson Reed and tsunamis and stuff. So we're back on it here. That's what opened Monday Night Raw here on Monday. So Seth Rollins came out there. He claimed that he was responsible for Roman Reigns. That CM Punk was only back because WWE wanted to milk Rollins' hate for him, and that Cody Rhodes would not have been back if it weren't for him. He said there are champions like John Cena and Gunther who believe that they are at the top of the business, but ultimately it's Seth Rollins' in game. Seth Rollins spoke, he spoke well with convention here and whatever, but that was pretty much the promo. Wasn't really much of anything here with that. It was a good promo, very, very, very good promo, but didn't really to me, it didn't really meant anything. It was really just to get Braun Breaker out there for Braun Breaker versus Penta. But before we talk about Braun Breaker versus Penta, what was your thoughts quickly about this opening promo?
Just standard promo. Nothing. It was just Seth is a very solid promo. Especially when he's serious. When he's serious, he's much better promo. But yeah, it's just just circling around. So it just just cookie cutter promo. But yeah, just not much. Just standard Seth Rollins promo, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was fine promo there, but so Braun Breaker was out there, and it was Braun Breaker versus Penta, a one-on-one match to open up Monday Night Raw, and man, very good match to me here, and Breaker beats Penta with a very very hard looking spear, springboard. That Penta took from Braun Breaker here, beats him with a 1-2-3 after that mid-flight spear. But very good match overall. What are your thoughts about this match?
Oh, the match was great. Definitely that spear to close out the match and get the pin was it was gnarly. Penta was selling it after the match and even backstage, which we'll get to that backstage segment with Chad Gable and Penta, but yeah, that was that was a very good match, like a very exciting, hard hitting, fast paced opener to Raw.
And speaking of Chad Gable is going to be out of action. There was words going around WWE talents that yesterday that Gable is slated for a surgery in early July. The nature of his injury or how long Gable will be out hasn't been said yet. That's coming from PW Insider, and he's scheduled to actually have his shoulder surgery next week. Again, coming from PW Insider. So Chad Gable is going to be out, and also as well did get news as well that later on that day that Grand Americano as well too. He's going to be out.
Yeah.
And shoulder. I mean, so it just seems to be going around with these shoulder injuries right now, from what it looks like.
Yeah, definitely a shoulder
Chad
bug.
Gable, Grande Americano,
Yeah, definitely a shoulder injury bug going around.
Yeah.
It sucks because Chad and Grande are entertaining, and Liv, like, she's
Do you think we'll
been.
see them as a tag team?
I mean, listen, I would if we could get that, I would much enjoy that. I would much enjoy a Grande Americano, Chad Gable, tag team that can go for the tag team belts since the Creeds aren't doing the job. So I could definitely see that. That would be a nice thing to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So moving on here, and I know we just started with Raw already, but forgot to ask you here. What was your biggest takeaway from Monday Night Raw from this past Monday?
Let's see. I would say definitely the main event. The main event between Cody and Jey Uso, like I thought that match was just great, and I know we'll get into it later on, but just
Oh no,
overall
yeah, no,
the
just yeah, go in depth down. Yeah, just
yeah yeah
talk about it
yeah
now.
the match the match was just great. Like it was hard hitting. There was definitely some psychology. You know, Cody is a big ring psychology type of guy. Likes to tell stories, and Jay really came out, did his thing, and Cody even busted out the Kimura lock too, and they I know Jay tried to he did Cody's crossroads and it's I guess it's like a Samoan thing because Jay said no fucking yeet to quote Jey Uso after he did the crossroads, and Roman cussed, he said, oh, this move is garbage, when he did the crossroads to Cody at Mania, at WrestleMania 40. So yeah, it's just like that callback. I enjoyed, and the match was good. Like we all knew Cody was winning, but just the fact that the match itself went down, and went down the way that it did, it was a very good match. And then the other takeaway, believe it or not, it's Raquel and Rhea. Their matchup. They got a match at Night of Champions in a street fight, and I like where Raquel and her character is going now that Liv is out. She's going to be out for a minute, and then that Roxanne Perez dynamic is there, and I definitely think this can be a blessing in disguise with Raquel, Liv, and Roxanne, because that's going to further the storyline. And it seems like Raquel is, trusting and being more open towards Roxanne being in Judgment Day. And of course, they need people because, you know, Dom is out and Liv is out, so they need more. And Carlito, Carlito's gone too, so it's like he's been released. So yeah, like definitely they need the bodies. And yeah, and Raquel looked great, with that table spot to Rhea Ripley with the assist from Roxanne. But yeah, those are my two takeaways.
All right. Well, great. So, moving on here on Monday Night Raw from this past Monday, we had a sit-down interview with Goldberg as he talks about the Saturday Night's main event against Gunther. And one thing I will say about this interview here is that I'm not for Goldberg for this match. I'm not for Goldberg going up against Gunther, going after the world title. I know it's his last match, but I'm not for it, right?
Yeah.
I'm completely against it. But this sit-down interview with Michael Cole was damn good. Damn good. Um, it was short, sweet, to the point, and it's a far better use of what Goldberg is than overexposing him in front of a live crowd. So,
Yeah.
I thought this was a damn good sit down. So possibly the most positive thing I'll say about Goldberg for this for his last run. But what did you think about this sit down?
It was good. It did what it needed to do. Again, Goldberg is good in doses. Short, sweet. Get in. When he's either doing a promo or when he's in the ring, just go in, get in, and go in, do your big moves, get out. Bob's your uncle, because the longer you're in there, the more you know the fans are just gonna be like, but he was great here.
Yeah, yeah, that was a very good sit down segment with Goldberg and Michael Cole. Moving on, King of the Ring semifinal match here. You had Jay Cargill versus Roxanne Perez. Jay Cargill beats Roxanne with Jaded, and she's going to be moving on to the finals against Asuka. Quickly, what are your thoughts about this match? I thought it was a very good women's match.
Yeah, Roxanne and Jade, they had a good match. One or two, I'll say like one or two miscues, but happens. But Roxanne, definitely she's been there on the main roster for a short time, and she's putting out. She had a lot of good matches, and she put over Jade in this one. And for those people who are saying like, hey, like Roxanne's always losing, like it's not fair. And it's like, guys, like not everyone can win. Like
She has the
storyline
most
purposes.
losses in
Yeah,
WWE, I believe, this year.
yeah,
That's coming off of being booked like she got booked so strongly in the Royal Rumble. Like Roxanne's gonna be fine.
yeah. She'll be good. I'm not concerned
She's a
about her
heel
because I
too.
know.
That's another thing.
Yeah, she's a heel. Yeah, like that's the thing. If she was a baby face and she was losing, I'll be like, okay. What's going on here? But the fact that she's a heel, she's with the Judgment Day, she's gonna have to take some pins, and it's fine. Like she's great. Like it doesn't diminish her talent, and she knows that there's bigger fish to fry with the story with the Judgment Day and the eventual implosion. And now that Liv is out due to a shoulder injury, it will help her. She'll be more in the spotlight while Liv is out, recovering from that injury. So it's like a blessing in disguise. You're gonna see her more on TV. She's in a stable. She's in a storyline. Like, guys, calm down. Like, relax.
Right, right, right. All right. Well, moving on here, Gunther had a response to Goldberg here, and Gunther, who was pretty fired up there, said he basically criticized Goldberg being a one-trick pony, a wrestler who cannot hang with the best of today, and vowed to embarrass him all over again Saturday Night's Main Event next month. And he said, "This is 2025, not 1998." So I like that there. I thought that was a very good promo from Gunther. What were your thoughts?
Oh yeah, that was a good promo from Gunther. He came out there just straight to business. He wasn't fooling around. Went in there, and he just eviscerated Goldberg. And I really do hope that it's a massacre. I really do hope that it's a massacre on Saturday Night's Main Event, because I remember Goldberg from WCW, then when he came into WWE, in the early 2000s, and then when he came back and had that program with Lesnar, and unfortunately when he beat the Fiend at Saudi Arabia, rest in peace Bray Wyatt. Good and bad, but at the same time, like, it's just have this last match. Don't be out there for too long. Do your match. I hope Gunther just, I'm hoping, and those who remember, WCW when Kevin Nash, with the help of Scott Hall, rest in peace, Scott Hall, tased Goldberg and ended the streak. Like I kind of hope that happens. I kind of hope that happens so we can just end it. Just the morbid side. I'm just hoping that happens, because Goldberg, he needs to just be he needs to just go. I'm sorry, he just needs to go.
Well, we shall see what happens at Saturday Night's Main Event next month. Moving on here, we had a backstage segment with Karrion Kross and Sami Zayn. Carrying across antagonized Sami Zayn, pretty much got slapped by Sami Zayn. It looks like that is going to be our sixth match at Night of Champions. We got Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. We're gonna talk about that match coming up here in a little bit for preview and predictions. But for now, we're gonna be moving on, and we have the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship match between Becky Lynch and Bayley. And Lynch defeated Bayley via disqualification after Lara Valkyria came out there and caused the disqualification itself. But before that, I thought this was a really good match. You got two veterans in there who know each other like the back of their hand. They had many matches against each other. What were your thoughts about this match here before the disqualification?
Yeah, this match was pretty good. Again, it's they had chemistry. Bayley and Becky, good chemistry. They definitely were, trading moves back and forth. I will say that I'm glad Bayley's back, and I hope that we'll get the story going with her and Lyra. Like, we'll definitely see that, especially what happened, towards the end of the match, with Bayley getting disqualified, winning by DQ, I should say, but Becky retained, and that dynamic with Becky getting under Lyra's skin and just provoking her and then costing Bayley the match, and it's just that dynamic. I like it, and I'm really happy of Lyra because she's grown like this. Becky coming back, and yeah, you know how we feel about Becky, but she's done a great job helping out Lyra, just get out of her shell. And the story, like, now she's chasing, and we have that element with Bayley, so I'm pretty stoked. And yeah, again, match was great, even though it ended in DQ. Didn't matter because it all tied into the story with Lyra and Bayley, and then they're gonna go at it, and Becky's in the background, with the title, so it's it's all gonna lead up to something. And again, enjoyed the match here.
All right. Well, yeah, it was a very good match here, and we'll see where everything leads between these three women. And if you guys are enjoying this here on YouTube, leave a thumbs up, leave a 5-star rating here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to here. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe, follow, whatever it is, and keep in contact with the Drew Yari Experience. Well, it's called The Experience now, but it's really Drew Yari Experience. This is his show, so yeah, well, we're gonna be moving on here, and there was a brawl with Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez, and you had a brawl outside with Raquel Rodriguez and Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley ends up going through a table on the outside. Yeah, I think it's potentially maybe a tables match. I'm not too sure that they may be possibly coming up with, but regardless of the fact, though, yeah, we're gonna get these two in a street fight, not a tables match, but a street fight at Night of Champions. So that got set up there. But moving on, we got our main event, which we already talked about here, actually, of Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso, which I thought was a great match. And you already stated that was a great match as well. But any other points that you want to make about this Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes match?
Yeah, I think we should have gotten this level of match, the style of match from, between Cody and Cena, just that same energy level, because, what we got here was just amazing. And yeah, it's on a Raw, but at the same time, it's like, this match had more oomph to it, more feeling to it, and wasn't for a title, but it's potential title shot. But just the fact that we didn't get this style of match for the main event of your show of night 2, so it's like, damn, like, could have gotten this. And we can criticize Jey Uso, and he can have a good match. It all depends who he's in with, but I think Cody and Jey have better chemistry, and that helped this match be a banger for the main event.
Right, absolutely. And I thought this match was fantastic. Probably one of the best TV matches of the year so far between these two, Cody and Jey. I thought it was an excellent match. Out of 10, what would you give Raw from this past Monday?
I'll give it a 7, just because there were a good dose of matches, and we got storylines being forwarded, and it was a solid show. Like, I really enjoyed Raw this week.
Yeah, I'd give it a 6.5. So I'm right there with you. But yeah, I'll personally give it a 6.5 out of 10. All right, well, we're deep in the podcast here. We're moving on to NXT, and for time's sake, I'm not gonna go over the entire show. Not segment by segment, but do want to talk about here, though, for you, what was your biggest takeaway from NXT from last night on the CW network?
I didn't watch NXT, unfortunately, but I did see that the storyline with the family with Stax and Tony D. I saw that Stax got the he got the World Heritage Cup. Yeah,
and Noam Dar's injured again. He just came back
again. I seriously thought he was back. Like, damn.
Well, no, he won the Heritage Cup. Now he had to forfeit it because he was going to go up against Stax, and it ended up being Tony D versus Stax, and Stax won, obviously. But yeah, I hope he's okay.
Yeah, same. I like Noam Dar. I know he was in that faction with Metaphor down there. And I know, like, that team got, they went their separate ways, and then, most of the group got let go. And I know Lash Legend, she's still, with NXT, which, I mean, look at her, like she's definitely money. But yeah, like that's what I saw. That's what I was able to keep up with. But I like, ironically enough, that storyline. And then also with Obafemi, like, big fan of Obafemi. I cannot wait to see what he does on the main roster. And then also,
who do you think he'll drop the title to?
Oh man, it's a good question, because he just went through everyone, and I know eventually, I mean, in reality, if it's not Ricky Saints, because I think Ricky Saints he's ready for the main roster. But if they weren't gonna call him up, I'll say possibly. But I think Ricky Saints, he needs to go to the main roster. Like, he needs to go, like, immediately, sooner than later. But maybe a TNA guy. I don't know. Maybe someone from TNA can beat him. Because it wouldn't make sense for someone from the main roster to come down to NXT to beat Ola when you can just bring someone from TNA to beat Ola, because Triple Williams is your your TNA World Champion. I almost said Impact World Champion, but he's your TNA World Champion.
Right.
So maybe if Joe Hendry can't beat Trick Williams, maybe he can go after Owa, maybe. and see, or Javon Evans, maybe that, that
OG.
David versus Goliath thing going. But yeah, they still got some hitters that can go after, that can do a program with Oba. But yeah, that's like all I was caught up, like overall, like what I've been, getting from NXT. But yeah.
Well, we'll just go through the quick results real quick. No commentary needed for this, but yeah, Trick Williams versus Josh Briggs for the TNA championship, and obviously Trick Williams beat Josh Briggs.
Yep.
Javon Evans versus Tavion Heights, which was a very good match. Javon Evans defeated Tavion Heights in this match. You had Ricky Saints versus Ashante Diadonis. Ricky Saints defeated Ashante Diadonis. We just talked about Tony D versus Shane Sachs Lorenzo for the Heritage Cup. And your new Heritage Cup champion is Channing Sachs Lorenzo. Jordan Grace versus Izzy Dane versus Jay Parker versus Last Legend, which was the main event of NXT. Grace won, and she will be facing off against JC Jane at Evolution. So that was NXT from this week. Typically, we'll go over every segment by segment, but for time's sake, it's already getting late.
Yep.
We have to cut that portion short. So apologize about that, ladies and gentlemen, for the folks out there who are looking for NXT. But this gives you your opportunity. Leave a comment down below and tell us what was your favorite segment of NXT, and give us your predictions and your thoughts about the show, and also your predictions on who you think is going to be Obafemi for that NXT championship. Last thing we got here on tap tonight, Mr. Ruben Prime, is Night of Champions. Night of Champions is still happening in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, June 28th, 2025. It is going to start off at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 Central here. We got 6 matches on the card here, and we have 2 title matches here. So we have 2 title matches, and let's get into it here. So first match here, we have Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross, a singles match. Ruben, who do you got winning?
I think Sammy gets the win just because, he lost. He's no longer in the King of the Ring tournament, and they're in Saudi Arabia, so they're gonna be favorable towards Zayn, and the whole story with Karrion, just trying to antagonize Sammy, trying to get him into the dark side, realize his true nature, to bring it out. I like it, just like the mind games, him being psychological, him just doing anything he can just to get under Sammy's skin, and it's working. He got a match, and people have been wanting Karrion Kross to be used more on TV, and I'm one of them. I'm one of those people that want to see him just have a fair shot and be used, and I think him being in those backstage segments help. And yeah, my person to win is saying maybe Sammy can do something where he get get himself disqualified, but I think he wins clean here.
Well, I got Karrion Kross, not because that I think he deserves it. I think that he's been doing some of the best work of his career, and on top of that as well, he's been getting great reactions for when he's been doing like the main event shows, and also he's one of the top merch sellers. And he just got a brand new T-shirt as well. I think if they want to start pushing Karrion Kross, this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
And this is his first match in a very long time in a prominent position. So I got Karrion Kross for the win here. Next, we got ourselves a street fight: Raquel Rodriguez versus Rhea Ripley. Ruben, who you got winning?
Oof, that's a good question. I mean, I think maybe Rhea wins, but I'm definitely leaning towards Raquel with, interference from Roxanne just to, continue that feud because, right now Liv is out injured. They gotta, keep something fresh going. So I definitely think just to make Raquel look strong, I definitely think she'll go over.
All right. Well, I got Rhea Ripley winning, and I just think that that's the right. I mean, I don't see Raquel winning. Maybe Roxanne comes out after the match, but or maybe she comes out during the match and Rhea kind of like beats her up a little bit. But yeah, I got Rhea winning here. And I thought
Yeah.
this match was gonna be on SmackDown, but apparently it's gonna be on the main show, which is fine for Night of Champions. Soul Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship. Ruben, who you got winning?
I think Solo goes over with some help, like we mentioned earlier. We will definitely be seeing I forgot his name. Like,
Hikuleo.
yeah, I definitely think he will make an appearance. Cause Solo, I definitely think he's been doing a lot of good work, and yeah, like Jacob is a better version, but Solo, definitely should have like he should definitely get some props. Just being more animated and just his work that he's been doing promo wise and all that, and with the story. Just I think with the help with assistance adding to his to his faction, definitely see Solo walking out with the U.S. title.
I got Jacob Fatu walking out with the United States Championship. But I think it's gonna be by disqualification. I think maybe someone like Hikuleo will make his debut, but it'll probably be by disqualification. If Solo walks out as champion, I wouldn't be mad at that either. But I think my official decision is that Jacob Fatu wins by disqualification. So next, Queen of the Ring finals. You have Jade Cargill versus Asuka. Winner of this match will get a women's world title shot at SummerSlam. Ruben, who you have winning?
Like I mentioned earlier, I'm definitely leaning towards Jade winning because it's a built-in story with Naomi, and especially she has the Money in the Bank contract.
Absolutely.
So I can definitely see her winning. Getting a match for the women's title, and then being cashed in on. Yeah, so that's the way to go. And hey, like just because it's predictable doesn't mean that it's bad, because that's the whole point of signing Jade Cargill. And you have someone in Naomi that's been doing a lot of good work.
Absolutely.
She's been doing a lot of good work. I'm definitely a fan. Been a fan since for a minute, and I'm happy that she's taking on this new persona, as a heel, and she does it for Big Jim. Gotta remember that. So she yeah, you gotta remember that. But yeah, I definitely see Jade taking the W, and Asuka. Love Asuka. She is still over, even though being gone for over a year due to her her injury. And yeah, she won't be hurt by this. She'll be fine. And there's a built-in program with EO right there, so she's not it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. For everything that you said, I 1,000% agree with. That was some of the things that I was mentioning last week to Drew. Drew was more of a line, maybe have someone like Roxanne, which that was my second pick as well. But I lean more towards for Jade because of the story behind it and what that leads up to for WrestleMania. Because I see that Jade beats Tiffany, then Naomi cashes in.
Yep.
And Naomi becomes champion. I think that would be a great way to do that. But we'll see what happens. We still got a while away before we get to SummerSlam here.
Yep.
Speaking of SummerSlam, the other King of the Ring final match, you have Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes here. This particular match here, this is the first match between these two since Cody's been back in WWE, and I'm not very excited about it because the story, yes, is the King of the Ring final, but this should not be the story. There should have been a bigger underlying story for this match. There should have been a rivalry for this first match, but it looks like it's just going to be a King of the Ring final, and maybe they'll have more matches in the future here. But quickly here, Ruben, who is your prediction for this match?
I definitely think Cody is going to go over. They're going to run it back. I believe they're going to run it back at him and him and Orton. I know they're going to run it back. Like they're going to meet again down the line, and I know Cody's going to get his rematch against Cena, so it's definitely written there. But I do think maybe there's a possibility Orton wins. You never know, but depending on what happens, with Cena, if CM Punk were to win by some, crazy miracle, CM Punk does win, which is a slim chance of that happening, then I could see, either way Cody winning, but that's that chance, Orton winning. But I'm going with Cody winning.
Yeah, me too. And is there a possibility? Is there a possibility that if Cody wins, that Cody may end up going up against Gunther?
That is a good question.
Because if it's not Cody or Orton, who does Gunther defend the World Heavyweight Championship against at WrestleMania? I'm sorry, not WrestleMania, at SummerSlam.
Yeah, maybe Cody does go after Gunther, because remember, I know Gunther wants to get his win back. Because remember, Cody did beat Gunther to be the crown jewel champion. So I can definitely see them running that back. There's definitely that possibility.
Who does Cena go up against?
Maybe
Roman?
maybe Roman if he comes back. If Roman comes back, if he were to come back on a SmackDown or Raw, preferably SmackDown. I mean, it doesn't matter because a lot of the wrestlers show up on both shows. But yeah, Roman comes back, then yeah, I could definitely see him going after Cena and Cody going after Gunther, because they're definitely gonna run it back, Cena and Cody. But I think it's too soon. So that there is that wrench in the plan. But yeah, that's a good point there. Yeah, it's definitely a good point.
All right. Well, we'll find out what happens here, and in the up and coming weeks going into SummerSlam. But we have our main event here. I'm assuming it should be the main event. If it's not the main event, they're doing something wrong here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, for the undisputed WWE Championship. John Cena, CM Punk, first match in 13 years, or 12 years rather. I'm sorry, that they will go up against each other. and their last one-on-one match was for the WWE Championship, and it was at Night of Champions as well. So, who you got? CM Punk, John Cena. What's your prediction, Ruben Prime?
Oof. Throw me in the hot seat here. Um, Man, with the pipe bomb, normally when the heel goes over the baby face, usually technically means that the face will win, but this isn't a typical match. And there is a inkling that's telling me Cena's gonna, hold the title until the end, like maybe SummerSlam he drops it, or maybe it's so many things that could happen. But this reverse pipe bomb promo, like, definitely, like, help, like, invigorate this, the title picture. Damn, it's tough because I would like to see CM Punk to win, have a short title run, and then Seth catches in on him. Because Cena, like, fans are cheering for him. Like, even though he's he's still a heel and he's shitting on the fans, like, he's getting cheered. So that's another dynamic. Especially if Cody's gonna go after Gunther, and they already have plans for, Punk, Seth, Roman, because that's not done yet. And then Cena can go off and do something else because he doesn't really need the title. Oh man, I'm gonna throw a Hail Mary, and if I'm wrong, you guys, in the comments section can roast me, but I'm gonna go with CM Punk winning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's shocking.
Yeah.
Where does Cena go from here?
Yeah,
if Punk wins, where does Cena go from here? Does that make this heel run a failure?
To be quite honest, I'll say yeah, because the fact of the matter is, they had a chance to make it interesting. I think if they would have waited to turn Cena at WrestleMania, then it would have made sense for Cena to, A to win, B to carry the belt over, past SummerSlam. And then once he drops it at SummerSlam, then he'll, go on his redemption tour. Because he's not going to retire as a heel. Like, that's how I feel. He's not going to retire as a heel. Because already the fans are cheering for him. And you still have that unfinished business with CM Punk, with Seth especially. He has the Money in the Bank, and I don't think Seth is going to cash in on Cena. It wouldn't make sense. And also a Roman is definitely that variable, that anomaly, that is still out there. So yeah, I'm thinking CM Punk, wins in that. And then as far as Cena is concerned, again, he's not going to be booed. He's going to retire as a babyface, and I think he goes on his redemption run, trying to get, the fans back in his favor, just like a reset, because the heel run has been a failure. Like, they could have done what they did last Friday night during his whole run, but they didn't. They went with this, monotone, robotic, I'm gonna ruin wrestling Cena, and it didn't work. It just didn't click. But when Cena did this pipe bomb, the fans clicked, because yes, this is what we wanted. This is what we wanted the whole time. It's like that SpongeBob meme. Like, this is what we wanted, since the beginning. Like, we wanted this the whole time. It's like, yes, like we wanted this from Cena being the cool heel, not being the robotic heel, I'm gonna run wrestling. But yeah, like, it's he still has opponents to face. So you still got R-Truth, you got Orton, you got throwing an LA Knight in there, you got Roman. Seth once he wins the WWE title, because I don't think he's gonna go after the world title. He's not gonna go after Gunther. I think Gunther and Sammy are gonna be that story. I think. But it's so many variables. Like I don't want to go into a rabbit hole because I know we're like short on time. But yeah, it's like that's how I feel. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, roast me in the chat if I'm wrong. But that's how I'm looking at things.
Well, I think for what WWE is trying to do right now, and for what SummerSlam is getting into, I'm sticking with John Cena winning.
Okay.
I think they want to run back Cena and Cody. So we'll see. We'll see what happens though. Well, anything can happen, but we'll see what happens with that. But Night of Champions is going to be on during the day, and it's going to be at least here in America. So
Oh yeah.
like I truly hope that the wrestlers get there safely, that their stay is safe, and that they leave safely. I do not want a Dark Side of the Ring episode on this. I don't. At all. So,
Yeah, that would be terrible.
Yeah, so if we don't get a Dark Side of the Ring episode on this, that means this was a success and everyone left and everyone's healthy and intact though. So, but very interesting pay-per-view to come up here on Saturday afternoon here, and leave your thoughts down below. Leave your predictions down below as well, and we'll see and we'll look at them through this week here, and maybe read some off next week as well during this podcast on the experience. And that is tonight's show. We were over 2 hours here live here in the Wrestle Soup Discord. Again, you can join us here on the Wrestle Soup Discord here under the experience in the Wrestling Soup Discord. Come on in, say hi. We will love people here to come and chat with us here during these shows. It will be very, very fun. It's a very, very fun time here in these shows here that we have. But that is it over here on my side. Ruben, tell where the great people here on the internet where they can find you.
Sure, of course. You can find me on X at Mr. Ruben Prime. Again, that is still say Twitter, twitter.com/Mr. Ruben Prime. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, I am available. I do stream, took a little hiatus, but I'm on Twitch and YouTube at Ruben Prime TV. And also I do stream on X as well. And I plan on streaming again next week. Lord willing. And yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I got the Nintendo Switch 2. And I've been itching to play some Mario Kart World online, just for the salt, just to see how mad I will get. And yeah, just check me out on those platforms. And I know me and Drew were supposed to do we did an episode of Culture Attack, but there was issues with the recording, unfortunately.
Oh, damn. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When was this episode?
I believe it was not this weekend, but the previous weekend. There was issues. Yeah. I was trying to fix it, and things just got really, really busy, unfortunate. But we could run it back. I'm not.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, run it back. But me and Drew, shouts to Drew Yari, we do a show together called Culture Attack, and it's basically a mix of a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of pop culture, media, and we review TV shows, films, and alike. And yeah, there's a lot of shows coming up. This summer, a lot of films coming out too. So definitely expect that. And you can check out the show on the on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. Just search Culture Attack. There's still, good amount of archived episodes there to listen to, and we'll definitely be back uploading on a consistent basis. But yeah, that's pretty much all on my end.
All right. Well, as for me here, you guys know where to find me here. Spinebuster Tees, spinebustertees.com. Come in and get yourself a wrestling t-shirt that can be shipped out to you across the country here, and get yourself many designs that is readily available for you for shipping. Also, Spinebuster Tees on Instagram, over 2,000 followers on Instagram, been verified on Instagram, so I'm a verified account. I have a blue check. I have a blue check mark on Instagram.
Nice.
So that's very well. I guess I'm doing very well over there to have a blue check mark over there on Instagram. So check it out. See all the things I'm getting inside my shop. Very exciting things coming up for my shop as well. So if you guys want to experience on what's going on there, follow me there. And my shop is, if you're ever in the San Antonio, Texas area, it is at Wonderland of the Americas, aka Crossroads Mall. Again, in San Antonio, Texas, and you come in, you'll see the shop. You'll see that I have a lot of different things, including obviously wrestling t-shirts, wrestling trading cards, Funko Pops, title belts now actually, action figures, lucha mask, DVDs, magazines, vintage magazines, autographs, trading cards, literally anything you can think of, hats, keychains, socks, anything you can think of that is pro wrestling related is available here in my shop at the Wonderland of the Americas, aka Crossroads Mall, and that's Spinebuster Tees again. Spinebuster Tees on Instagram and spinebustertees.com. And as far as the Drew Yari experience, you can find him on YouTube, and it's youtube.com/ the Drew Yari Experience. You can also find him on X or Twitter or X under the DY Experience. Follow him there, and keep up with him. This is the man, the myth, the legend that is the host of this podcast. He'll be back to being host next week as well. And let's try to get everything up there on his X, his YouTube channel, and also follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you see your podcast here. But all right, well, that's enough rambling here for tonight. Very good show here. Again, I'd like to thank Mr. Ruben Prime for coming on. And you will see him again very, very soon here in a podcast somewhere with either myself or Drew or a mixture of all three of us here. So until then, my name is Justin from SpinebusterTees.com. That is Ruben Prime. And we'll see you guys later. See you guys next week. And you guys have a great night. Peace out.